It is time again. Welcome in a Wednesday edition. Halfway through the week, halfway to Packers Bears coming up on Saturday night. 7 o'clock kick, Green Bay football post-game show. Powered by Lakeland University. Following that one from 10 o'clock until midnight coming up on Saturday night. Look forward to talking to y'all after that game. Hopefully it'll be a party. Hopefully it'll be a celebration. Hopefully we'll be talking about going to the next round of the playoffs. Hopefully it's not an end of the season, scream and yell and be mad and depressed that they lost 5 in a row to end the season and people go to bed angry on Saturday night. The good news is the next time we're on the air after that would be Monday. And by that time, y'all will have had a chance to calm down, rationalize things, and have real conversations on Monday versus on the post-game show, which will probably be irrational and angry. That's my guess if the Packers lose that game, Charlie.
I really don't think they're going to be that rational on Monday either, Sparky. I think you're getting your hopes up a little bit there. A little glass half full.
Maybe. But I mean, 2 full sleeps, I would think everybody will have calmed down some by the time we get to Monday. But we'll see how this whole thing plays out. Lots to get to on today's show. Obviously, lots of NFL and Packers conversation throughout the show today. There will be a Bucs segment squeezed in there at 3 o'clock with some rumblings about Anthony Davis and the Bucs. Rest of the show, pretty much NFL heavy and Milwaukee Bucks heavy. Got to start off with the news of the day. Bo Melton, Packers. What are we supposed to call him? Wide receiver,
utility man at this point. I guess.
I mean, wide receiver, cornerback, special teams guy. I mean, he's Swiss Army knife. Bo Melton is that the best way to?
I think that's a good way to describe what he does for this team. Looking at what he's done this season, I would say primarily special teams and wide receiver. Promise a cornerback, but special teams wide receiver.
Okay, speaking of what Bo Melton has done this season, let's have a little look-see at what Bo Melton has done this year. Because anytime you hear another guy added to the IR and you're a Packers fan, you're like, oh my goodness, come on. How many more are we going to lose before we actually have this finally end? Bo Melton, 4 catches, 107 yards, 4 passes, I should say, 107 yards and a touchdown. Rushes 5 times for 35 yards. Returned kicks, 19 kickoffs for 467 yards. Made 4 tackles covering punts and kicks. 186 special team snaps, 96 offensive snaps, converted to cornerback, and played 0 defensive snaps. To which Charlie can be like, I told you so. Mm-hmm. Because for those of you that weren't listening, when they decided to make the switch to Bo Melton to cornerback in the offseason, I was like, oh, buddy, here we go. They're going to try and play him at corner because they're so deep at wide receiver. Charlie would not hear anything of it. Nah, it's all BS. Don't believe any of this stuff. He's not going to play cornerback, Sparky. And it was looking like he was going to play corner as guys were falling like flies left and right, and everybody was going down. It's like, okay, he's going to end up having to play corner. Did not happen. So 4 catches on the year, over 100 yards and a touchdown, which is great for Bo Melton. And I will say this. When you hear the news that he's going to the IR, your immediate reaction is, great. How are we going to fill that? But then you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not as bad as we think. With Bo Melton headed to the IR, are you worried about the wide receiver depth in the playoffs? Because remember, Savion Williams, he's done. He's on the IR. Wicks is battling concussion protocol. And then you've got this dude and Bo Melton, who he is now done, and he's not going to play this week either. Those are 3 wide receivers taken away from you at this point. Are you concerned about wide receiver depth in the playoffs? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the social, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio, or go to wisportsradio.com to stream the show there and check out all of your favorite podcasts while you're there. Charlie Usen, I would say this. Considering how this has gone for the Packers this year, I think it is legitimately a concern going into this game because you are now 1 injury away to Matt LaFleur's worst possible situation. You're going to have to throw the ball, Matthew Golden. You're 1 injury away from having to throw the ball to Matthew Golden, your first round pick. If Dobbs goes down, Watson goes down, Reed goes down. Any one of those three guys go down, Golden is going to have to play a more pivotal, important role in this offense at whatever point in the game that were to happen. And it wouldn't have to be like, some type of season-long injury or anything like that. It could be a high ankle sprain or twisted knee, and they can't run all that well. But he can't finish the game. You just heard them say, Stenovich, the offensive coordinator, talk about the fact that, well, no, he's not going to play a prominent role in the playoffs. Like, that's not going to be a case. I'd be excited if they call a play for him, but he's not going to play a prominent role. You're one injury away from him having to play a prominent role. Coming off of a game, they threw him the ball 3 times. The first 2 times they threw him the ball, he dropped both of them. I almost shed a tear. And then the third time, he finally caught the ball. And then, did you see on X, his little Twitter profile? That's all black, completely blacked out. And then he tweeted out a picture, I think it was last night, of him praying in the end zone on another one. So confidence-wise, mentality-wise, I don't feel like maybe he's in a good situation right now. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's uber confident and ready to roll. But if it is a confidence issue, now you're going to put him in this big situation, lacking confidence, and possibly a huge moment of the game because of injuries. That, to me, seems a little scary. Nikolai Law talking text line, what say you? Are you worried about the wide receiver depth for the playoffs? The Green Bay Packers, now with the news of Melton to the IR, still waiting on Wicks and concussion protocol. Savion Williams is done. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Charlie, what say you?
I am worried about it. And I don't really know if it's the fact that Bo Melton himself is out of that rotation. Like you mentioned before, he hasn't been that much of a threat when they've needed to call his number. He's been out there to be that guy to get his number called. So I think he has been important, but I think you can find other people, more important players that can have their numbers called in those situations too. My worry is that when you give a workload or a bigger workload to guys like Christian Watson and Jayden Reed through their career so far have not been able to stay out in the field that often, that worries me that giving them that extra workload is going to put them in a bigger position to get injured, especially against a Chicago Bears team that we've talked about for the past couple of days is going to come out and be aggressive and be headhunting almost to some degree and trying to get these guys to tap out in this game. And I think if you lose a Christian Watson on top of this, or if you lose a Jayden Reed on top of this, you are in a really dire situation, especially considering a lot of other positions on your team are dealing with injuries too.
On the Nikolai Law talking text line 414, it doesn't matter how many wide receivers you have if your defense can never get off the field. Fair point. I don't necessarily disagree with you. And we've talked about this too, where you cannot have a situation to where your defense gives up a 15, 16 play drive, regardless if the Bears get 3 or 7, or even if they don't score, but if they're still out there for that long. And then your offense comes out there and goes 1, 2, 3 punt. They get the ball back and they go right back down the field again. That's a problem. That is a big, big problem. Now, that's not to speak of 0 for 5 in the red zone the last time and all the other nonsense that happened in that game. A fumble by Josh Jacobs, the onside kick fiasco. Again, as we've talked about, they shot themselves in the foot a ton. Now, the other part of this is brought up in the dugout YouTube chat by Brett, who is the kick returner now going forward. Tommy Wirtz, when we were doing the post-game show after the last game against the Vikings, said he just wants somebody that's just essentially on punts, just fair catch, done. And on kicks, just make the right decision and don't fumble the football. No expectations of returning anything, no expectations. Just do the best that you can. On kickoffs, if it was me, not punts. Punts, I think, are a different animal than kickoffs. Charlie, you can disagree with me if you want. I think punts is a much tougher deal to deal with if you've never done it. Kickoffs, I feel like, for the most part, you can probably figure out. There's enough leeway between you and the guy coming where you can really focus on the ball and not worry about getting drilled. Matthew Golden? Maybe. You ain't playing him a wide receiver anyhow. Why not let him go back there, use his speed, and see if he can bust one on kickoffs? Why not? You've got 2-3 days to try it out, see what it looks like in practice. Might not be a bad time to roll him out there and see what he does.
Maybe give him a different opportunity to make a big play in this game if you're not going to play him in a primary role at wide receiver, like Adam Stenavich was saying. The other guy I can imagine is somebody who I talked about after their performance on Sunday versus Vikings is Emmanuel Wilson. Like if he's going to be healthy, I know you want to have that security blanket of that back running back, but I think Chris Brooks showed that he could be out there and be a serviceable backup running back as well. Emmanuel Wilson looked pretty good when he was returning kicks. On the play where he ran backwards 20 billion yards, that's a good kick returner impression a little bit too.
He's funny Chicago guy.
Thank you.
Funny Chicago guy. He's annoyed me more in the last 3 or 4 weeks on this show than he did at any point when the Brewers were playing the Cubs. Because when the Brewers were playing the Cubs, even though he's a Cubs fan, he definitely felt more in the camp of the Brewers while the whole end of the season was happening. He definitely kind of came over a little bit more to the Brewers side. This thing here, Packers Bears, he has definitely stood his ground on that other side of going, I'm going to nitpick and pinhole everything on this thing. And that's how this has been now for 3 or 4 weeks, which is fine. Totally fine. We've got to deal with Rami Makaloff on 9 to noon with John Kuhn every day. I pray for John Kuhn every night before I go to bed. The Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Are you worried about wide receiver depth in the playoffs? Now with Bo Melton headed to the IR, still don't know about Wicks and concussion protocol. Savion Williams is done. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. The 262. It's the Matthew Golden breakout game. Although the weather will limit opportunities in the passing game, Golden will finally get his day. That's from Ziggy on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Well, Ziggy, the weather forecast, last I saw, I have not looked today, but when I saw it yesterday, they were saying somewhere in the area of 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. And Matt LaFleur pretty much said there's no chance it is going to be windier than it was the last time they were in Chicago. Because if you remember the last time they were in Chicago, it was extremely windy and they had their issues. I don't think, unless we're talking 40 mile, 50 mile an hour winds, I don't think it's going to deter Caleb Williams and the Bears from throwing the football. And I don't think it's going to deter the Packers and Jordan Love from throwing the football at 15 to 25 miles an hour. Jordan Love's got a strong enough arm to kind of go through anything, right? Now, did you have a ball carry on the one throw in the end zone, it looked like? Yes. Who it's going to matter most to is going to be the field goal kickers. McManus is going to have to get his head wrapped around how to play inside Soldier Field, depending on which end zone and which goalpost he's kicking to. In that case, I feel like that's advantage to the Bears, who they kick in those conditions probably more than the Packers do, and definitely more in that stadium to where they get the advantage. Just like Mason Crosby, who you hear noon to 2 every day. Mason Crosby showed Mitch Thunder Nellis. He had the advantage kicking in Lambeau. Why? Because on one end of the field where the wind is swirling, he knows how to play that. On the other end of the field where maybe it's not, but it does something else differently on that side of the field, I know my field. I have the home field advantage as a kicker. These other people don't get to come here and kick in this as much as me, so they're going to struggle more in it than Mason would. No different, I don't think, than going to Chicago.
Well, and Cairo Santos is one of the kickers that have had a longest term with a team right now, currently on that team. He has been on the Bears for 5 seasons now, which is something that you don't see around the league right now. Guys get rid of kickers a lot. So he has even more experience than other guys in their own home territories. This is something where it's going to be a tough battle for McManus.
Let's go to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Mike in Waukesha, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Sparky, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Yeah, I the way I look at it, Sparky, he's going to have to be an integral part, Golden on his team during these playoffs, because of the fact that I'm really anal and I watch the Packer game and then of course I tape it and I watch it back again.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's just me that notices this, but why is it every time one of our wide receivers makes a catch, he's immediately running to the sidelines and somebody's putting a jacket over him after that catch? You watch guys like Jefferson for Minnesota, he's out there all game. He's not coming off the field every time he makes a catch, but it's almost like our receivers are totally exhausted after they make a 20-yard catch, and they immediately run to the sideline, and they take him out of the game and cover him up with with a jacket
Yeah.
because it's cold. And I don't understand that. Why these guys can't stay on the field for more than one
Well,
play.
okay.
But they might go with tight end looks too. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're
So-
banged up there too. You lost Fitzpatrick. You lost Tucker Kraft. I mean, you're down tight ends too. This guy, Wiley, nobody knew who the hell Wiley was coming out of training camp. And here's Josh Wiley having an integral role in this thing. Musgrave, you like throwing down the field to him. He's not going to get a yard after the catch. But if he catches it and falls down 30 yards downfield, that's effective. But again, you can't use him like you use Tucker Kraft in the same way. Because if you throw him the ball out in the flat, that's where he's going to get tackled, is out in the flat. You throw the ball to Tucker Kraft in the flat, you may catch him 15 yards downfield in a first down, and he turns something into nothing bouncing off of guys. So you can't even run the offense the same way as you did for Tucker Kraft. Thanks for the call, Mike. Let's talk about the wide receiver being out of breath. I'm cold issue. So if Justin Jefferson played for the Packers, I think he wouldn't come off the field as much. When you don't have that guy and you feel like they're interchangeable parts, you don't have to worry about some dude coming back out of breath after 50 yards and then asking him to go back out there and play again. When you have a guy that is heads and shoulders better than everybody else that you have and top guy in the league, yes, you're going to ask him to stay out there and continue to play. Because even if he's out of breath and just running a decoy route, he's drawn two and it benefits the Packers. If Dobbs is on the field, if it's Wicks, if it's Reed, doesn't matter. Probably, according to the other defense, no, probably not that much. Not going to change that much. Christian Watson, yes. Right? Watson, I think, is starting to get that respect around the league of having to maybe put two guys on him from time to time. But that's part of the reason. Like, we don't need him to go back out there. I'll just put a fresh receiver out there, let him catch his breath, and then send him back out there to play after that, Charlie.
I even think, though, to some degree, that Christian Watson, after being out there for 7 straight plays, maybe potentially running 5 routes in those 7 straight plays, teams may still get a little lax on him, too, in that situation, because he hasn't proven that he can be consistently that star yet in his career, mostly because of the injuries. But if you don't think he can stay healthy, or he will drop a ball later on, because he's done that if he gets a lot of attention throughout a game, I think those are situations you get worried about too as a Packers offense. So even Christian Watson isn't to that level of a Justin Jefferson where he consistently draws that attention. You need to find other ways to draw attention. And by rotating the receivers and getting guys around, that draws attention. That throws a defense off because you don't have that solidified number one yet, even though Christian Watson and Jordan Love have built that type of connection so far this season.
Yeah, Charlie, using C Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Take a quick time out, come back on the other side. Interesting thoughts by former Packers offensive lineman Mike Wall, who's on this show a bunch throughout the course of the football season. He's been on a couple of other shows here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network as well. His thoughts on the Packers pass rush going into this game and Rashawn Gary. Speaking of a guy that comes off the field every couple of plays, there's another one. Again, if Rashawn Gary was Micah Parsons, right, he'd be out there much more, I would think. There's two lines of thought to Rashawn Gary. Either A, cardio sucks, and he just can't handle it. So that could be it. But I don't believe that to be an issue. The dude's unbelievable. Or 2, not running hard all the way through a play. I don't believe that's an issue either. So, I mean, unless you're going to come back and meet with, he's got an asthma issue, and that's what we're going through, which you would think would have been public knowledge by this point. He's been in the NFL for how many years?
Or that he would have something like that
an
handled
on the side.
Yeah, regimented at this point. Right.
Something. So unless there's that we don't know about, like, it's just a horrible, horrible look versus a wide receiver who jogs off, somebody else comes in. No big deal. Rashawn Gary runs off and another pass rusher runs in, not named Micah Parsons. There's a perceived drop-off, especially in the first half of the year when he had like 7.5 sacks, hasn't sniffed a quarterback since. That it was an issue. Now he runs off and it's like, big deal. He wasn't doing anything anyhow, right? You change how you view things. But coming up next, comments made by Mike Wall about Rashawn Gary and about getting pressure on Caleb Williams. But I have issue with what Mike Wall said, and you might too. We'll talk about that next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Still to come, Charlie, sounds of the day. Top 3 sound clips from around the world of sports. Brought to you by Prize Picks. That comes up at 3:40. Looking forward to that. How important is it to get pressure on Caleb Williams? Now, why do I ask this? Well, I ask this because of a piece that was brought up today, and I'm looking for the audio, and of course, now I can't find the audio.
It's in our WSD folder.
From Mike Wall. And where is it? I don't know. This is not unusual for me that I can't find something after Charlie tells me that it's in our folder, and I have it open. I don't see it here. Beautiful. All right. Why don't we play it? Here's Mike Wall on his podcast, Block Party. And again, former Packer offensive lineman talking about Rashawn Gary and getting to Caleb Williams.
I think a couple of those guys played pretty well this week. I don't know that anybody played so well, particularly Oliver. I think he has a little bit of ways to go. I think it would be next year that you're going to see a lot of them. But I don't think we saw enough of them against the Vikings. And I think he had a couple good speed of power plays and really good effort. But I don't know how many more extra snaps you're going to get because of that. Now, Rashawn Gary, I've been a huge Rashawn Gary fan for the last 3-4 years. I was so thrilled he got paid, even through the injury. I would be shocked if he doesn't show up this postseason. I'd be shocked. I think he's gonna come out and have a play or two that are gonna have a big impact on this football. I would be shocked if he doesn't.
I can't get on board with that. I love Mike Wall. That's my dude, but I can't get on board with I'd be shocked if he doesn't make a play, right? Because I'll be media guy. Pretty much what you're saying is he can turn it on when he wants, and he's going to turn it on in this game, and then you're going to see pretty much the guy that you saw in the first half of the year. Because in the first half of the year, he was a disrupting force, but Micah Parsons was also on the field. Since Micah Parsons has went down, he's been a no-show. Micah Parsons is not going to be on the field playing this week against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field.
For 3 or 4 weeks before Micah Parsons got hurt, Rashawn Gary was a no-show.
Correct.
So that's why I have no faith, too.
That also. But again, you take out the best pass rusher and then go, oh, he's going to figure it out. Maybe he will. And I hope Mike Wall is right. I hope he does figure it out. I hope he does have a couple of big impact plays. But Charlie and I were talking before the show. We were going to do a different question. And as we continue to talk, this evolved into the question. How important is it to actually get pressure on Caleb Williams in this game? Just in general, regardless if it's Ingabari, regardless if it's Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness or any of these other guys. How important really is it to get that pressure? That's what I'd like to know. Speaking of Cole Kmet, did you see that thing on Cole Kmet?
I did. Maybe if you want to wait till Sounds of the Day.
It's in Sounds of the Day?
It is in Sounds of the Day. Yes. I'll share it then.
I'm shaking my head if you're watching on YouTube right now. I saw that last night. I was like, what? How did nobody know this through the first 2 games?
Well, I think he talked about it when Van Ness got drafted. I remember him saying something about it then.
Yeah, so stay tuned for Charlie Sounds of the Day. This whole Packer-Bear intertwined thing going on right now is quite special. So stay tuned for that. And then there's tickets involved to the game and all this other nonsense. So stay tuned for that at 3:40. But how important is it to get pressure on Caleb Williams for the Green Bay Packers? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. I argue that it's not that important. And 99% of the time, you would say you are an idiot if you don't think it's important to get pressure on an NFL quarterback. And 99% of the time, I would say, yep, you're right, I am. But in this case, against this dude, I'm fine not having pressure on him. I'm fine literally just maintaining him in the pocket. Don't let him run right. Don't let him run left. Don't let him run up the middle. Keep him nice and firm in the pocket. Bring him a blankie and a pillow. Let him rest and relax. Kick up his feet, whatever he needs to make him feel comfortable right there inside that pocket. This game here on Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Packers-Bears, is going to be about stopping the run for the Green Bay Packers and creating turnovers on defense like we've been talking about. Caleb Williams, when he's all nice and comfy, feeling all good about himself, they're in the pocket, not running helter-skelter right or left, right there. I feel pretty good about my chances of him missing a throw or two and getting an interception. You get that dude all crazy running right or running left. For you old people like myself, Fran Tarkenton, like running right or running left. And now he's whipping the ball across his body and completing throws 25 yards down the field. And your hands are on your head going, how did he just make that throw? My head hurts. I don't want any of that. I don't want him running right or left. I'll give you a third thing. Stopping the run, keeping him in the pocket, and defending that bootleg when he likes to go right and make that pass up the field or take off running, because that bootleg killed them in the last game. Those three things is how you win this football game. So in this game here, I'm actually fine if you don't want to blitz 2 or 3 guys on a possession. I'm fine if we're not running a ton of stunts in the middle trying to get pressure. I'm okay with that. I am. Just make sure that dude doesn't get out of the pocket. Make sure you have a spy in the middle of the field to make sure he doesn't take off up the middle of the field. And all should be right in the world. The nice thing about a Jeff Hafley defense is we're going to play a lot of zone in Green Bay. Cool. Great. Big fan. Why is that a big deal for these guys? Well, if I'm playing zone, that means all eyes are on the quarterback, which means if you take off, everybody's coming up. It's not going to be man on man, receivers running down the right sideline, another receiver that started on the right, going to the left, and that whole right side of the field is open with everybody's back to you outside of the safeties. Then it's just run all day for a quarterback that likes to get out there and run. So in this game, it's a ton of zone, keep everything in front of you, and focus. If you're going to blitz, make them run blitzes, and go try and stop this ground game. That's how I'd approach this game. I wouldn't over blitz. I wouldn't do any of that stuff, Charlie.
I wouldn't either. Looking at Caleb Williams' advanced stats against the pressure versus being kept clean. So far this season, the Bears' run offense, when they are given pressure at the line of scrimmage, have a 92.2 grade on PFF. They only have a 79 grade when it's kept clean. His passing stats, obviously, he's had much better completion percentage with the pocket being kept clean, but under pressure, he has a 7-to-1 touchdown ratio. So he hits a lot of big plays when he's under pressure is what that means. And in those plays versus a Packers team where the cornerback room doesn't look like the strongest group going into this game, they definitely are a little bit better with Trevon Diggs out there. I think he played all right on Sunday, not anything to write home about, but he played all right. This is a situation where I think you want to keep those opportunities limited, and also you want to stop the run like we've talked about against the Chicago Bears team. If you're going to bring pressure, I think that goes away from that. And then also when he's being blitzed, he still has a 16-to-3 touchdown to interception ratio with 1,500 yards on the season. Again, not a super high completion percentage, but what I've said before is that he constantly throws the ball just away. He is so good at just getting rid of the ball for no reason sometimes. But it also has worked in his favor instead of getting sacked like he was all the time last year.
It just makes all the sense in the world not to be super aggressive on this guy. It just does. 262. Gary needs to have a couple plays. Otherwise, he needs to go. Then basically nothing for 9 weeks. Yes, nothing for 9 weeks. I'll take you a step further. I don't care what he does. He's going to go because they're going to need cap space. Elton Jenkins is gone. I think he is gone. Those two for sure. And then you could have your next conversation about, does Josh Jacobs make it coming back? Because they can save like $8 million on him if they decide to part ways with Josh Jacobs and some other guys. There's going to be cap casualties, I would assume, coming up this fall. Now, they could also restructure contracts and extend and do all that fancy hocus pocus stuff. I reached out to Ken Ingalls, our old capologist for Packer fans on social media, and he's busy this week, can't come on. But I think next week or the week after that, we'll be able to get him on, and we're going to go over all the numbers, what it looks like this offseason, and all the different hoops and stuff the Packers can jump through to try to add some more talent to this roster. Because remember, you have no first-round pick. So how can you add maybe an impact player while also still drafting maybe one or two impact players at the same time? Nicolay Law Talk, text line 414-677-1250. Chris and Muskego, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Sparky, it's been a few years since last time I called in. Gary was still on the show, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Don't be a stranger, Chris.
Yeah, well, I'm just relearning that when everybody died on your station, I didn't know that you still had a good talk show going on. I just accidentally flipped to it, and there you were going like, holy.
Yeah, don't swear. Back. Thank you. Do not swear. 6 A to 6 P. We're local every day, buddy. Make sure to tune in. We got Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht, 6 to 9. 9 to noon with former Packer running back John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. You know Rami from 9 to noon. Noon to 2, it's the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. I'm on 2 to 5, and then Tommy Wirtz has the Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up Show from 5 to 6. So make sure you keep it tuned here. All right?
You got it. I agree with you. I don't see pressuring this quarterback would do us any good. If you can just keep him inside the pocket, in my personal belief, he's not a good pocket passer. He's a good on-the-run passer. You got our defensive ends got to stay home and keep it trapped in. But the other thing that really makes me mad, it doesn't seem like it doesn't matter who our defensive coordinator is. Our DBs continuously line up 5, 10 yards off the receiver. They need to get up in there and disrupt these routes. So if you're keeping Williams in the pocket and he ain't got nowhere to go with the ball because you're disrupting these guys in the routes, eventually you're going to get them down.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? Chris, thanks for the call. Don't be a stranger. This is the thing. The reason you play so far off is because you're going to play zone and you don't want anybody to get you beat deep. You're trying to limit explosive plays, 20 yards or more. So by playing this style of defense, that's what you're doing. His defense and Joe Barry's defense, similar, right? It's kind of similar. People were mad at Joe Barry's defense for doing the same thing that Jeff Hafley's defense does. So yes, you may be able to put together a drive against against Hafley's defense, but more times than not, they're going to stall out once you get down the field and everything gets shorter. Now the Packers, can play a little bit more aggressively in short space. But otherwise, yeah, that's the deal. You're daring a quarterback to put together a 15 or 16 play drive without making a mistake that costs them. The problem with the Packers is this year, they've been able to do it and not turn the ball over. Last year, they were turning the ball over constantly with errant passes. Packers this year, when there have been errant passes and they've gotten their hands on the ball, drop the damn thing. And that's why when you look at this Bears game on Saturday, it's imperative that they don't drop interceptions when Caleb Williams gives them a couple of gifts.
Yeah, he's going to make some gamble throws. Yes. Ben Johnson is going to make him make some gamble throws.
And it's a playoff game. His first playoff game. You know he's going to try to do something.
Both him and Ben Johnson are going to try to get aggressive in this game, and you're going to have to make them both pay in this situation.
First drive, Bears on their own 20, 4th and 6. We're going for it.
Wouldn't be surprised. And that earlier in the game could be the turning point of the game. That could change the momentum of the game completely.
He had that 4th down play that he didn't go for. What was it? The last game or whatever. They punted the ball. They took the ball. They drove it all the way down the field and won the game. And you see him shaking his head, and you could read Ben Johnson's lips. Should have went for it. And I went, oh boy, there won't be any punting against the Packers. He's going to be not wanting to punt the ball in any situation.
100%. But in order to force them to make those mistakes and to get them into that position where they're throwing that often, you have to stop the run first. You have to get them into this realm of, we need to be more aggressive in the pass game. Our run game isn't getting it done. You saw it last week that Detroit found a way to slow down that run game. Just like everybody keeps talking about how the Ravens kind of showed how you can beat the Packers because Derrick Henry is one of the greatest running backs of all time. Let's let's not forget that. He is that good. Like, he's huge, he's a monster, and he's one of the greatest of all time. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. People don't give him that credit. Yeah, he's going to beat the Packers, a defense that isn't healthy, that isn't ready to go, wasn't really good at stopping the run in the first place. This Packers team can look at the strategies that the Detroit Lions used last week to stop a Bears running game that's probably been a lot better than most people expected this season. They're not Derrick Henry. You can figure that out, and then you can force them to make mistakes.
Correct. And that's exactly correct. Very well said by our guy, Charlie Usen, on this one. I wanted to get into some of the firings that have gone on around the National Football League, because as we all know, Jeff Hafley's name is one that has been attached to potential job openings throughout the season, as this Packers defense had played well for a majority of the season, right? So now there's all these job openings, including the newest one that we talked about yesterday when John Harbaugh was let go by the Baltimore Ravens. And are any of these jobs better than staying in Green Bay? We'll discuss that straight ahead. Don't forget, Potawatomi Sportsbook. That is where you want to go over there at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, right? 2,000 square foot screen. 30 different sporting events at one time they can show you. 2 levels. That second level you can rent out for events or luncheons or dinners or whatever you want. You can reserve your seat ahead of time by going to Potawatomi.com. Just search for the sports book. Nominal fee goes towards your food and beverage costs when you're there that day or that night. So really, you're going to spend that money anyhow, essentially not really spending any money. The food and beverage program over there, woo, buddy, that Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen is on point, I tell you. 48 beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails, all-day brunch. You got burgers, you got wings, you got wraps, everything you could possibly want, they got, and homemade pastries and desserts to go along with everything else. You're going to eat like a king while you're watching yourself cash in on some money over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Reserve your seat today. Go to Potawatomi.com. So Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Sparring with you, Charlie Using, other side of the glass. Charlie, in your sounds of the day, I don't want you to give away because I like being surprised at 340.
Yep.
You got any Ben Johnson?
I don't have any Ben Johnson.
This is Matt LaFleur talking about the Packers and Bears game, and if he's treating it like any other game.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing our guys have been doing all season long. It's a tough opponent on the road, a division rival. There's obviously going to be a lot of excitement, and not only, I mean, everywhere about this game. So, we just got to go play our type of game.
At 340 for Charlie Sounds of the Day, Charlie's going to get you Ben Johnson. And I want you to hear Ben Johnson next to happy-go-lucky LaFleur here. It's two totally different dudes. I was watching video clips last night, and it looked like he was staring through every person he was talking to. He looked like he was an obsessed robot, right? With his hands out, I'm coming to get you. That's what he looked like. And it was just, we're going to play 5 more weeks. We're prepared to play 5 more weeks. That's how he was. He ain't no messing around. And as I'm watching it, I was like, hey, he seems kind of on edge and mad, like it's us against the world, which means what we talked about yesterday is definitely going to happen, where this Bears team is going to come out, they're going to play on edge, probably toe that line of dirty early on, try to get the Packers to do something stupid and get in their head, and try to take advantage early, like they did the last game. But after watching them, it may be even more over the top than it was the last game.
It could be. Did you see the video of George McCaskey pushing a Packers fan away from him while he was taking pictures with other Bears fans?
Are you even surprised?
No.
I told you about this guy, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a story that this dude, I heard it on the score. So, but this dude apparently has those urinal cakes in the men's bathrooms. Apparently he has Packer logos or something on him and drops them into restaurants or bars around Chicago that he's at.
So he's just carrying a whole wad of urinal cakes in his pocket.
Ron just has one in his pocket. He goes in there,
going
drops
ready to
it,
go.
right?
So do you think he has a whole chest of them in his house that he just opens up every time he goes
First
someplace?
of all, I'll say this again. Not from why he's doing it, but I've never understood why radio stations and stuff like that don't do stuff like that. No bar or restaurant is be like, I can't believe you dropped that in our urinal. Nobody's going to care. Whatever, do what you want. It seems to be brilliant
I wouldn't
marketing.
say nobody would care. There's probably, I bet there's
No
some
chance.
signs that maybe there's better quality ones versus non-quality ones. So if somebody's getting cheap ones and putting it in there, it might mess up your pipes. You might be mad about that.
They can't go down the sewer, can they?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how urinal cakes work, man.
No.
I'm just saying there might be more to
It's
this than you think.
No, I don't.
There's more
I
to
don't-
the urinal cake world than you think. Sparky.
No, I had this urinal cake idea years ago, and I brought it to our promotions department, different people than we have now. I brought it to our promotions department, and he was like, absolutely not. Why? I wanted to do something really crazy, put my face on a urinal cake with the station logo, flipping them off or something type deal. I'm like, I guarantee you, if we go to a bar and I drop one of those in, you will hear everybody in the bar, every guy that goes in there will come out and bring it up to them, and they will all be pointing at me at the bar at some point and potentially start a fight with me. Who
They got
knows?
to pee on your face.
Well, whatever. Just you will not believe what I just happened to me. It's a talking piece. So McCaskey is doing this in Chicago, right? And if nobody knows who's doing it, either way, if you're a Bears fan, you love that idea. If you're a sports bar in Chicago, why wouldn't you
not?
just order a bunch of them and just drop them in all of them yourself?
Why not?
Yeah.
Also, because that's probably a lot of work. It's easier just to get the generic urinal cake.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sure.
It's better when George goes and does it for you.
Yeah, could be. But that tells you the difference, though, right? And Policy doesn't care about the Bears. He don't care. Mark Murphy did not care. I promise you there, too. Matt LaFleur, no chance he cares. No chance. McCarthy, maybe a little bit. He cared over the course of time when you got guys like Lovie Smith. I'm here to beat the Packers at his opening press conference. Okay, cool, dude. And Ben Johnson, same type of thing, right? I enjoy beating Matt LaFleur a couple of times in Detroit. All right, fair enough. I feel like there's a lot of poking from that side more so than there is this side for the last 20 years. And that's probably because they can't beat them. But either way. So yeah, Packers Bears Sunday night is going to be fun. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are going to get into these firings, and does any of them make sense for our guy, Jeff Hafley? Or is this Packer DC job a better job, and wait out for some other head coaching openings that may happen in the next couple of years? We'll discuss that coming up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen producing, other side of the glass, streaming live on X and on YouTube, as well as at wisportsradio.com. Thanks to all the fine affiliates around the state for carrying us. WNFL in Green Bay, the Flamethrower, 99.7. 99.7 FM. I almost said WFM. That would not have made sense. Also, 93.9 The Game in Wausau, Duluth Superior, 710 The Game there, and 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan in Milwaukee. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, we get ready for the Green Bay and Chicago game, and we are out and about in Green Bay. 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Romney Makloff, and the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nels will broadcast live from Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina, just 2 blocks from Lambeau Field, right there on Lombardi Avenue. Come hang out with the guys from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina. I believe Trevor Thomas is going to stop by throughout the day. I believe I heard one Doug Gottlieb, head coach of the Green Bay Phoenix. He said today that he's got all this free time without doing a radio show now. He's like, I'm coming by. I got nothing else to do. So he's going to come hang out, I think, at some point during the afternoon. Might have an Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast sighting from him. Maybe we'll see Ryan Wood if he stops by. Who knows? We have lots of people in Green Bay that are friends of all the shows that could maybe pop their head in and say hi tomorrow between 9 and 2 at Margaritas.
It should be a lot of fun. They should be packed. I remember when we were doing the draft shows and how many people were just popping by and showing up. Should be a lot like that.
Yes, absolutely. It was so much fun doing the draft show up in Green Bay. And obviously this year, draft, not as big of a deal when you don't have a first-round pick. Now, that does not mean that Goody may not package that too with something else and try and get himself back up into the first.
Might need another emergency Tommy and Charlie draft show.
That's a joke, inside joke. We won't get into that. Okay, so there's been some NFL firings that have occurred here in the last week or so, right? The latest being John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. That happened during our show yesterday afternoon, and we talked about it after we had the conversation about it happening. And then we said, yeah, what would you rather have? And we didn't really take calls on it. We just had a conversation between me and Charlie. And the point on all of it is, the leader of men aspect of John Harbaugh versus that of Matt LaFleur. The lack of being a play caller for John Harbaugh versus the play caller element that goes along with Matt LaFleur and so forth. And as we've talked about, John Harbaugh has rotated through offensive and defensive coordinators over the course of time. And to his credit, has stayed very competitive, many divisions, many playoff berths, Super Bowl, all that stuff along the way. But when we talk about Jeff Hafley as defensive coordinator being a possibility, a person of interest to teams like the New York Giants, that's where Jeff Hafley has been connected. Haven't really seen Hafley connected to the Cardinals. Haven't really seen Hafley connected to Cleveland. But we continuously see Hafley connected to New York. Now, part of that is he's from that area, so forth. It makes sense. You just went down the road of an offensive coach in Brian Daboll, and now maybe you want to go back to the other side of the ball and let a guy with defensive ties run the ship. That John Harbaugh deal may have screwed things up. Because everybody and their mama that has an opening, they all want John Harbaugh. Okay? No doubt. He is the best candidate involved that's out there right now that everybody would want. So now, if you're Mike McCarthy, let's say, who might be listening to WNFL right now? Hi, coach. If you're Mike McCarthy, now you're sitting in a position of, great, now I got to wait. Because now everybody's going to be like, we'll get back to you. We got to wait and see what happens on Harbaugh. How are you going to argue it? Man's been successful for damn near 20 years in Baltimore. So, okay. So you chill, you sit back and go, let's see what happens. The other thing that has occurred is that there's some speculation that the assistant GM with the Chargers is the guy that he wants to be his GM, and he wants to roll as a package deal, which then also would mean that Joe Schoen, the GM of the Giants, who lets Saquon Barkley walk, his job may be in jeopardy because right now They got rid of Dayball. They kept Shane. But that does not guarantee Joe Shane a job. Several writers have said that's the deal. I've seen one dude, Ian O'Connor, longtime sports writer in this country for probably 40 years or more, say that, nah, that's not John Harbaugh's style. He's not going to boot an existing GM out of a job just to get his own guy there, right? Like, he'll work with whoever. And then he points out that Eric DaCosta, who was his GM after Ozzie Newsome, is next door neighbors with John Harbaugh and canned him. Imagine that. Go take out the trash. What's that conversation like?
There you go. That'd be fun to walk by with a dog, just hear what's happening, be the fly on the wall.
Could you imagine firing Tommy Wirtz and then living next door to him after you fire him?
Yeah, that'd be a little awkward.
Nope, I'd move. I'm going to move, then I'll fire you, but I am not living next door to you after I fire you. That's not happening. No way. The dirty looks I would get, oh, man, could not imagine.
You'd probably have to bring over cookies every once in a while. Play nice.
It would take a hell of a lot more than cookies to make him happy at that point. But my point on all of this is this. Now that he's out there, if Harbaugh takes that Giants job, I think the chances of Hafley leaving diminish greatly if he goes to the Giants. So if you're a Packers fan, if you're looking at this going, I want Jeff Hafley, because some of you have already turncoated on that dude. But those of you that still want Jeff Hafley, you want Harbaugh to get the Giants job. You feel good if Harbaugh gets the Giants job, that now you have a much better chance of keeping Jeff Hafley at this point. Because the top candidates that are out there are all defensive dudes. There aren't really offensive guys out there, which, again, if they were to get rid of Matt LaFleur, I don't believe they will, but if they were to do that, he obviously would be a top candidate right away. Now, if he were to come out, if Harbaugh doesn't have a job, they lose to the Bears, they fire LaFleur on Monday. I'm calling in sick if they fire LaFleur on Monday. They fire LaFleur on Monday, and if Harbaugh's still out there, now there's two legitimate big fish out there in the pond, and now Hafley really has slimmer pickings to pick from, because then it's like, I really want the Green Bay job now. Now I'm going to lobby that policy, let me be the head coach here, because there may not be anything else out there. And if there's not, and he doesn't get it, you're going to lose Hafley, because odds are LaFleur will come back and get Hafley and bring him with.
Or Hafley will still get a head coaching job somewhere. There's still potential there. He was still going to interview with other teams too. This is still going to be a situation where maybe he would want to go to another team that might give him a little bit more power in a head coaching relationship. Like a team like the Saints that might need help on defense coming up here with a lot of retiring people. They might pay him a little bit more money to come help out Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore's horrible. If it were to open up, would the Packers defensive coordinator gig be more enticing than the open head coaching jobs right now? So if you're Jeff Hafley, is this DC job a better job than these head coaching openings that you have around the National Football League right now? Or are there a couple of head coaching jobs where you're like, hey, man, like that Giants gig, man, you got a couple of good pass rushers on defense. You got a building block quarterback. You got a stud receiver, Malik Neighbors. You've got pieces with the Giants to where you can go there and win in short order. Like, I would give up the DC job to go be that head coach, right? How many of those are there? Are there any in your mind? Maybe you think they all stink and he's not going to win anywhere. Because that's the thing. If you go take a head coaching job in a no-win situation and you don't win, guess what? It's still held against you by owners around the National Football League. You don't get to, well, you were in Cleveland with Jimmy Haslam. You never had a chance. We'll give you a chance here with the Raiders. Or you were with the Raiders under Mark Davis, and they've been horrible forever. So here, be the next head coach of the Detroit Lions after Dan Campbell. Like, I just don't think a lot of that happens.
No, but one of your favorite things that I get to say
Yeah.
here, if you have good relationships with people across the league, even though you may have failed in situations where it was a little stacked against you, you can still find your way back into head coaching gigs. Josh McDaniels keeps finding ways to sneak himself back into head coaching gigs, and that's because he has really good relationships with a lot of people across the NFL. His name's getting talked about with the Las Vegas Raiders again, even though they fired him 3 years ago because he did an awful job. I mean, this is a situation where if you can build up that type of resume, even though you failed in situation, guys like Cliff Kingsbury, because it is a really weak offensive class for head coaches right now, I think a lot of teams are going to give him a look, at least give him an interview to be a head coaching job, with all the news that's coming out of Washington, where it seems like they didn't really want to let him go, but the front office meddled, the ownership meddled, and now he's on the street.
How about this? Peter Bukowski put this up. When Matt LaFleur got that job, do you want to hear who they interviewed for that job that Matt LaFleur won the job over
Who else
on?
did they interview?
Think any of these guys could have been the head coach. Joel Philbin, longtime Packers coach. Josh McDaniels, I remember praying to God they didn't get. Adam Gase and his deep eyes.
He was so awful in Miami, yeah.
Jim Caldwell, who coached in Indy and Baltimore. Okay. And Caldwell's a Wisconsin native from Beloit, I believe. Chuck Pagano.
Nah.
In Indianapolis, maybe. Right? Battled cancer. That's how Arians burst onto the scene. Todd Monken and Pete Carmichael. Now, Carmichael obviously was with the offense with Sean Payton in New Orleans. Todd Monken has been an offensive coordinator for a while. Monken thought he had the Packer job. He thought it was his, and LaFleur ended up getting the job. LaFleur, I believe, was the last guy they interviewed before they made their decision.
He must have had a pretty damn good interview, man.
Murphy, when Murphy tells the story, he giggles and laughs like a little schoolgirl about how great that interview was. Like they got into the car and he's like, I know what I want to do. And everybody's like, yeah, I know what I want to do. Or like, we better sleep on it. So then they slept on it. They got it the next day. Everybody's like, okay, who do y'all want? And everybody apparently said LaFleur after that interview. So he wowed them in the interview more than Monken and the rest of them. And you and I had the conversation of, if LaFleur goes, who do you want? For me, Tom Monken would be my guy that I would roll with as head coach, because then I get a play caller. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon. It's his first head coaching gig to go along with Jordan Love, and you roll that way. I'd rather go that way than an inexperienced guy that's never been able to be a play caller, but they think he's really smart, and let's see what happens. And the person I'm thinking of, and his name is escaping me, of course, Declan, is that the guy's name? The offensive coordinator for the Bears, who is not calling plays because Ben Johnson,
like 19-year-old.
is right. They're saying that he probably is going to be the
Declan
new
Doyle. That's right.
Declan, right? Declan Doyle. He's going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Lions, people think, because he was there. They say he's the next Ben Johnson, and they think Doyle will leave to go be the offensive coordinator in Detroit. Now, who knows? Somebody could be wowed by Declan Doyle, even though he's never called plays, and say, you're our guy. You go be our head coach and call plays. And then he calls plays. He might not be that good. And then it's a complete backfire, and you were wrong. Give me a proven play caller that has a history like Todd Monken. If I'm a team, they say there's no offensive guys out there. If I have a young quarterback like Jackson Dart, and if it's not Harbaugh, give me Todd Monken. Let Todd Monken develop that offense with him and Malik Neighbors.
But also, every other team has really young quarterbacks. It's going to be a battle to get a guy like that, because the Titans have a young quarterback that they really like, who finished the season strong despite not having any talent around him at all. In Las Vegas, they're going to go and draft somebody at number one that's going to be a guy that's ready to go in the NFL and has to be ready to go in the NFL. You're going to want to go coach that as well. I think a lot of these teams are going to have to sell themselves to these offensive-minded coaches because they're so rare right now out there. So, again, you're going to see a lot of guys probably get opportunities that maybe shouldn't, or opportunities that they wouldn't have gotten in past years because it's so thin.
Okay, so got a text message coming in here. Let's see here on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, which you can use as well, 414-677-1250 from the 414. Sparky, when can we expect all the requests to interview Halfley to come rolling in? Or did the Ravens game moderate that interest? I think that after this weekend's game, that is when you're going to see business probably start to pick up for Jeff Halfley. If the Packers beat the Bears, and this Packers defense looks good without Micah Parsons, I would assume then that next week, that Monday, Tuesday, whatever, you'll start seeing interview requests, Halfley flying to New York, Halfley flying to Cleveland, wherever, and then being back and getting ready for the next game. If they lose that game and the defense gets walked all over, that may kind of calm interest in Jeff Hafley.
Maybe. But also, again, there's just teams that need a head coach really bad, and it's not a very strong market. If they lose out on some of their top candidates, again, one of these teams that's just desperate to get somebody in there that can change the culture, he's the guy that's kind of seemed like he's been able to do that with the Packers defense right now. You'd give him an opportunity because of that, at least an interview.
He's Charlie using C Sparky Fiver over here. Another one coming in from the 920. And he sends me a link, which I am not quite sure if I can open or not. No, I cannot open it. But it says top 25 worst NFL coaching hires this century, from Bobby Petrino to Nick Saban to Urban Meyer and more. And it's from CBS Sports. Would you call Saban?
I got it open right now.
Would you call Saban?
Maybe. No. I'd call Belichick over Saban.
What if you're Baltimore?
I'd call Belichick over Saban.
Really?
Yeah. If I'm going to go that route, a guy that's been out, a guy, he's just more recently been in the NFL. I think that's something that changes. I think this is something where Saban got out of college because he didn't like the way things were changing. The NFL is way different than when he was with the Dolphins.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the NIL and all of this other stuff to deal with. It's a lot easier in the NFL right now, believe it or not, to be a head coach.
I guess
that it is. Have you seen the transfer portal? Badgers added like 4 guys before 9 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like they woke up and people are just signing.
Carter Smith resigned too. Did you see that? QB1, baby.
Don't you love saying that?
I do love
a player resigned.
A guy that
You're
was
under scholarship, but I resigned my contract.
But it's still cool to see that he's sticking with them. You know, you haven't seen a quarterback stick around, even the backup ones, for a while. So
yeah, that just drives me crazy. All right, take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. Before we get to Charlie's sounds of the day, I want to switch gears. One segment on the Bucs. The rest will be Packers today. One segment. There is a report out of The Athletic about teams that are interested in Anthony Davis. Now, yesterday we talked about a report from ESPN about a trade idea that they threw out there for Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. And one of them was the Bucs making a deal with the Hawks to add Trae Young with Giannis. Now, there is a report out of The Athletic about the Bucs having interest in Anthony Davis. Is there anything positive that comes out of that organization? Anything lately?
Doesn't seem like it.
Like every time you read something, you just shake your head and go, what are we doing? And this was going on before Peter Feigin was, however that happened, that he's no longer going to be the president. Before that news even came out, it's been this way all year. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's where you can go to watch all of your favorite sports teams. You got the college playoff games coming up tomorrow and Friday. You got pro playoffs coming up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You can watch all of those, plus the NBA, plus the NHL, right there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. 2,000 square foot screen, over 30 sporting events on at one time. Not to mention that Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen that's on fire. A dozen different specialty cocktails, 48 different beers on tap. All-day brunch, homemade pastries and desserts, anything you want, they pretty much have at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen. Reserve your seat ahead of time. It's 2 different levels. Go to Potawatomi.com today. Nominal fee, but it goes towards your food and beverage fee that night. Huh? Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass, got some roster moves by the Green Bay Packers that just came in. The Packers have activated linebacker Nick Neiman off injured reserve. That's more of a special teams move. This will help special teams. That's a positive, though.
They need that with Bo Melton out now.
Yeah.
He's a huge special teams contributor, so Neiman should be able to kind of help fill that in.
Neiman helps that. Bo Melton on injured reserve like we thought. They signed defensive lineman Anthony Campbell to the practice squad and placed wide receiver Will Shepard on the practice squad, injured. General Manager Brian Gutekunst announced those transactions today. Campbell, 6'6", 307 pounds, a rookie out of the University of Miami, Charlie's other school outside of the Wisconsin Badgers. So is he any good, Anthony Campbell?
He's all right. He wasn't really anything too special there. He's surrounded by a lot of guys that were more high profile when he was at Miami. A lot of guys that are going to be first round picks this year in the draft. So yeah, not the greatest.
Okay, so the question is this. If the Bucs do decide to make a blockbuster trade before the deadline, now seeing the report today from The Athletic, which I will read to you, so like a paragraph long, would you rather have Anthony Davis, power forward / center, over the rumored guards like Trae Young or Zach LaVine? Would you rather have Anthony Davis over a Trae Young or a Zach LaVine? Because it feels like they're going to make some splash move here to try to convince Giannis to stay. It feels like they're going to do everything in their power to add a star player with Giannis. Now, the question is, would you rather have Anthony Davis or the guards? Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio. Plus, you can stream us live on X and YouTube at WI Sports Radio, as well as by going to wisportsradio.com. You can stream us that way too. All of those ways work. All of them work the same way. All right, let's talk a little bit about this piece in The Athletic today. I can't say that I was overly excited, but this is what it says. League sources say the Milwaukee Bucks are also among the teams that have registered interest in trading for Davis. Though a deal appears unlikely, the Bucks have been aggressive in their search for more talent to put alongside superstar forward Giannis, and expressing interest in Davis falls in line with that pursuit. But their scarce asset base and lack of sizable contracts could limit the attractiveness of a potential trade package. So, I don't really care about the lack of trade assets. That doesn't really matter to me. The reason it doesn't matter to me is you can get creative and have a third or fourth team involved in order to make a deal work. Look at the hoops that this dude jumped through, John Horst, to get that Miles Turner thing done. Right? He's going to do whatever he has to do and cut whatever backdoor deal he has to cut in order to get a player that he wants. John Horst has proven time and again he'll figure out a way to make a deal work at the end of the day. Whether it's giving up a boatload of second-round picks, giving up first-round picks, whatever, including a third team into a deal. So I don't worry about, well, they only have a first-round pick, or, well, they only have Bobby Portis or whoever in the deal. If we're being honest, and we're talking about Anthony Davis, and we're talking about the Dallas Mavericks, who has Cooper Flagg at this point, and then you're having the conversation of, well, what would Dallas want at the end of the day? Well, you have Kyrie, who is expensive, has a tendency to get hurt, and is getting older. I think if you were to put some type of package around Miles Turner, Rollins, and a 1, that has to get it done. Right? Rollins, Turner, and a 1. That has to get that deal done at the end of the day. Has to.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like we are really high on Ryan Rollins. I know he's getting more and more recognition across the league, especially in the most improved player candidacy for that award this season. At the same time, I don't know if it feels like a lot of other teams across the league are buying into him that much yet. And I think as Bucks fans, because we don't see a lot of other value on this team outside of those two guards and him and KPJ, it feels like that he is more valuable than maybe he is.
They can't even move Ryan Rollins, so that wouldn't work.
Hey,
So it would
KPJ.
It would have to be KPJ, right?
Which I think probably garners a little bit more trade interest. I know he's had his personal issues, the off the court issues, which is why he's been around the league and bounced around so many teams. But he's proven so far this season that he can be a bucket getter. And a team maybe like Boston that's looking for a player like that, if they wanted to move a star like a Jaylen Brown or something like that, because people have been rumoring that a little bit here. I mean, that could be a team that could be going for that.
It still wouldn't work because you're still not even at that point to be able to make it even come close. It's $54 million for Anthony Davis. Miles Turner's only at 25. KPJ's only at 5. That's only $30 million. You still need another 24 in salary in order to make that deal work. Good Lord. I failed to realize the difference in salary between Miles Turner and the other one. Right. So Kuzma would have to go as well. He's at 21 million
too, right? Because Portis is
13 and a half.
Okay.
So let's say Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., Anthony Davis. Hold on. I screwed that up. Anthony Davis. Now maybe it'll work. Yeah, that works. So Turner, Kuzma, Porter Jr. for Anthony Davis. And in that case, you wouldn't have to give up a first-round pick. Straight up, just like that, 3 for 1. That deal works.
You'd have to give up a first-round pick. They'd want that pick too. So
I would think so, yes. So that's 4 for 1. That's a lot to get a guy that's never healthy. But from the asset standpoint, they can make it work. They can absolutely make it work. Trell, north side of Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky?
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm just a little depressed about all my sports teams because they're all going through something of their own. I think the only bright spot may be that hoping the Packers can go on a run, maybe. But besides that, everything else, the Brewers are looking to trade. After they just made the NFC, they made the National Championship Series. The Bucks, we're talking about getting a guy who's never on the court just from desperation. I mean, this is, and I just want to say this. I don't want to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. Of course, I would love for Giannis to be a Milwaukee Bucks for his whole career.
Sure.
But I see the writing on the wall.
Yep.
I mean, I literally see the writing on the wall. And to me, what the Bucks are doing now is out of pure desperation. And anybody, I don't care, if you've seen somebody be desperate in a relationship, like someone in your family or one of your friends or something, it's just an ugly, icky look. And right now, I know they want to hold on to him and all of this, but they're actually making their future worse by doing it this way because we struck the lightning in the bottle when we had the team that we had. And I'm so happy and grateful for us being able to cash in and win that championship. I'm just sorry. I don't see it. I know all these trades, all this talking about what we can get and all this. I don't see them being able to get enough acclaim or enough players to be able to convince Giannis to stay. He's going to eventually act out. And why not us, the Bucks, be proactive? And I know
we lost Trell. Oh, say it again. Try to get Trell. We lost you right there.
No, I said I know that whatever general manager trades him is probably going to get fired, and that's what people say. I wouldn't trade him on that. We really don't have any other avenue.
Okay, I got a text. I got a text that came in here. Nikolay Lautaka text line 414. Tell me if you would do this. This person says, "I'll take Cooper Flag, Derek Lively, Gafford, and 2 1s for Giannis, but not till after the season."
Cooper Flag, Derek Lively,
Gafford, and 2 1s.
Yeah, Gafford and 2 1s.
They're going to have to do more than that, though, because contracts aren't even remotely close.
Yeah, but okay. I would, Sparky, but this is the thing, though. The Bucks actually have a chance to get a really good pick right now.
Yeah, they do.
They got a chance because they get to keep their pick this year. So they have a chance if they keep not winning or trying to go for the playoffs or whatever. and being in the middle of the road somewhere, they have a chance to have a really good pick in a loaded draft. But if we're going to play this game where we're going to carry the Giannis and we're going to be desperate and try to make a run at the play-in or either at the 6th or 5th seed or whatever in the playoffs, then and Giannis acts out at the end of the season, we're screwed.
So this is the deal with the Bucks pick. The Bucks have a swap with the New Orleans Pelicans, where Atlanta holds the rights to the most favorable pick between Milwaukee and New Orleans. So the Hawks will receive the best of the Bucks or Pelicans 2026 picks, and the Bucks will end up with the lesser of the two.
Right. So either way, the Pelicans are horrible.
Yes.
So I mean, if the Bucks, let's just say the Bucks, the only way we can get screwed if the Bucks win the draft lottery, and then they have to give it to the Pelicans, and they take the Pelicans pick. You know, that's kind of the only way we'll get screwed. But then in that case, we're still going to be more than likely a top 5 pick.
And it's a good draft class too. Thanks for the call, Trell. Yes, it is a good draft class, no question. John in Tosa, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's going on, John? Would you trade for Anthony Davis over, say, the guards that are rumored like Trae Young and Zach LaVine?
Well, I look at Anthony Davis as a negative asset, but I also look at Trae Young as a negative asset. But I'm trading for Trae Young if I can get that deal done, because his $48 million's off the books after this year. I think he's a expiring contract. I think he's got one more year, and you can get free of the Kuzma contract, all this dead money. That $25 million we're paying Lillard such a hamper to us, the organization. So I like if you get that $48 million, I don't know exactly how it works if we get to use that money or not, but you clear up that $48 million. You can tell Giannis, hey, we're going to go get some players via free agency, a little more flexibility. That's just, and I just do the buyout option. Let's say if CJ McCollum comes available, I free that up a little bit.
Again,
you're gonna be terrible at rebounding.
You are terrible at rebounding already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're already terrible at it. You can't play a damn bit of defense. This is a wash year. I don't know why everyone's like,
but John,
I get it.
John, this is the thing, man. Charlie will testify to what I'm about to tell you. I was pleading and begging, and I said, go to Giannis and tell him, look, man, we're not going to be good for the next 2 years, especially not this year because Lillard is hurt. He's going to miss the whole year. But we're going to free up some of these contracts that we have, get them off of our books. We're not going to do anything aggressive. Anything we do will be on one-year deals. Let's open up, a bunch of free agent money in 2 years, and then let's get aggressive and go find a real big three again. You just got to work with us for the next couple of years. And clearly, Giannis was never going to hear that because he wants to compete for a championship or he wants out.
And I'm okay with that. And you know what? We're paying with credit cards is what we're doing.
That's right. Eventually, you got to pay them.
You got to pay them. Hey, you know, if I'm the Bucks, and look, I'm just saying, like, I call Charlotte. I say, hey, what would you give me? Would you give me Brandon Miller, Khan, 2 first-round picks for Giannis? I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think they would do it in a heartbeat. If they don't have to give a ball, I think they would probably do it. Yeah,
I would do it.
I appreciate the call, John. Don't be a stranger. John in Wauwatosa jumping in there on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Coming up, we're going to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Let me tell you about my friends over there at Habish and Road Tier. Again, man, these guys have been around, almost 100 years. Charlie calls me old. I turned 50 this year. That's double how long I've been on planet Earth, man. That's double the time. If a business is around 100 years, do you know what that means? That means they're really good. That means they're really successful. Do you want to know what else it means? I ain't talking personal injury lawyers. They're all over, right? All kinds of personal injury lawyers. These dudes have been doing it for 100 years. Here's another idea of what makes them so good. They don't have one location. No. They've got locations in Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison, Appleton, Kenosha, Lake Geneva. I'm not done. Racine, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, Stevens Point. I'm not done. Waukesha, Wausau, and West Bend. Habish, and Rotier. Like I talked about yesterday, they were synonymous in my family with one of my buddies. I was going after this girl, and we kept putting her last name after Habish, and then her last name all the time. And it was so funny. And when I found out I got to talk about these guys, I was like, heck yes, man. This is beautiful. I'm super excited. National reputation, hometown service, people that you can trust. It's not a fly-by-night. You've heard about them your whole life, and now these are the people you turn to win, right? To win. That's what we're trying to do, win. Visit Habish.com. Call them today at 800-2HABISH or 800-242-2874. 800-242-2874. Again, Habish.com. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Do not forget, tomorrow we are on the road again with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, getting ready for the big Green Bay-Chicago game this weekend, we will be out and about at Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina, just 2 blocks from Lambeau Field on Lombardi Avenue, 9 to noon. Former Packers running back John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. Mason Crosby show will be there from noon to 2 with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Again, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., come hang out with your guys from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Again, tomorrow at Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina, just blocks away from Lambeau Field. All right, Charlie Usen, what do you got up your sleeve today?
All right, so first up, you brought it up earlier. Cole Kmet, Bears tight end. His sister has been dating Packers defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness since they were in college.
What is going on? Why would you? How could you possibly know that and still draft the kid?
Why not?
I
feel like that's good information for the Packers.
So
I feel like that's
you drafted a rival and an Iowa Hawkeye from the state. And the dude is dating a Bears player's sister.
Isn't that a good thing? Doesn't that get in the head of the Bears player? What did you think?
Did they come out at the same time?
I think Cole Kmet was a year before Lucas Van Ness.
So we knew he was a Bears player.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Here's Cole Kmet discussing who his sister will be rooting for in this game.
Who's your sister rooting for? I don't know. I don't talk to her on Packer Week, so I'll find out after the game. You don't talk to her? No, I'm kidding. Well, she did ask for tickets, and I just sent her the tickets, so I didn't really respond to anything else besides that. But ask the other guy? No. They wanted the better seats. That's why. I had to help my sister out. No, all kidding aside, but I usually find that out after the game. Usually, she's just she's happy to see both of us healthy and all that good sister stuff. But I hope deep down she's rooting for us.
There is 0.0 chance I'm giving her good seats for that game. There's no chance. You want to date a Packer? Use his tickets. Sit in the nosebleeds. You're not using mine. I'll give mine to mom and dad who will be wearing my jersey and not your boyfriend's jersey. Like,
unless they like the boyfriend a lot, sometimes that happens.
He's not even very good. Like, it would be one thing if it was like TJ Watt, and you're like, okay, we're in. All right. We love TJ. He's the man. He's going to take care of us the rest of our lives. I'm all about TJ, right? Fine. I understand. I get it. Fine. Or even if it was Micah Parsons. Okay. I understand. It's Micah Parsons. Dude's unbelievable. Fine. I get it. Sorry, Lucas Van Ness, if you're listening, but there's no chance. No chance I give you my seats if you're dating a Packer player. No chance.
I think you just wanted to bash on Lucas Van Ness that whole clip.
I know, I didn't. I never would have. No, I can't even fathom that. That's insane to me. Go ahead.
All right, next up. Yesterday, we heard from Leroy Butler on Up and Adams discussing why he thinks the Bears don't have it in them to win this game.
Yep.
Now we're going to hear from former Chicago Bear Matt Forte on Up and Adams responding to Leroy Butler and why he thinks the Packers don't have it in them.
I think the Packers are lackluster in their preparation for the Bears coming up. I think they're a little overconfident in who they are. I think they are a little overconfident in the fact that they're relying on the past to be predictors of the future. And so every game is a new game. Every opportunity is new. I don't need to say anything disrespectful to, fire back something because of that or like whatever else was said. I'm just going to speak the truth is that that's what I see from my point of view is that they're resting on some of the previous notions of who he thinks the Packers are. And I think that come Saturday, they're gonna find out.
He was Leroy Butler, is who he was talking about.
Yeah, that's good. I think he literally was making things up as he was talking, and that's why he was talking so slow. He was trying to figure out what he was going to say in response to that, and literally was going forward. If Aaron Rodgers was on this team, I agree with you because he owned the Bears. So he can rest on his laurels of, we always beat you. I don't care who you have at quarterback. I'm going to beat you again. And he did. So that, yes, Jordan Love hasn't won enough against these guys to the degree to say, you're the Bears. I got you. He's not at that point of his career. He has no Super Bowl ring. He has no MVP. He can be confident, absolutely, to overlook, which is pretty much what he's saying, that they're looking past the Bears, getting ready for the next playoff game and seeing who they're going to play. No chance that's happening. And Matt LaFleur's personality would never even allow that to happen.
No way. No shot. Especially, again, the way the season has ended so far, the regular season ended, you can't afford to do that. You will not get far. And honestly, I think the Packers, a lot of them probably feel like, and a lot of fans are in this mode, even if they beat the Bears, it's not going much longer past that if they can't be healthy.
Correct. All right, what's your next one?
And last up here, we're going to hear from Dan Orlovsky on why he thinks the Bears will beat the Packers. This is from the Pat McAfee Show.
I think the world of Green Bay, but that game's going to come down to the final 3 minutes. Can Green Bay's defense, the last time we saw them out, at least with their guys, they got ran through by Baltimore. Obviously, that's the trademark of Chicago's offense, is their ability to run the football. D-Butt, you would know this, but I just think one of the things that makes it so challenging is, like, everybody's got to tackle, and then that creates those downfield shots for Caleb. And so, Caleb, there's still moments of inconsistency and head-scratching misses at times, but he makes big plays down the field when they present themselves.
First of all, if I'm Darius Butler, don't call me D-Butt. Like, we got to come up with a different nickname. Dan Orlovsky, I love you, but D-Butt has got to not be my nickname. We've got to come up with something else, buddy. So that's the first thing on that takeaway. The second thing is, how can you argue against what he said? That is the concern going into the game, that you're going to get run over like Derrick Henry ran you over, like they attempted to run you over in the second half of that last game. You have got to stop the run, get turnovers, win the turnover battle, and do not allow Caleb Williams to kill you on the bootleg. I mean, to me is pretty much the game at the end of the day. You do those three things, I don't see how you don't win the football game. Sigmund Bloom, you know who that is?
I do not.
So if you Google, long time, right, or whatever else, he pretty much came out, I think it was earlier today or last night, and said, I think the Packers can blow them out. Like, they were 0 for 5 in the red zone. Like, if they just punch a couple of those in the red zone this time, they're going to win that game going away against Chicago. I just don't see how they lose that game. Interesting point. Good take for somebody on the outside looking in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Up next, our green and gold update. Don't go anywhere. Welcome in. See Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie Using over there as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Charlie Using over there, other side of the glass. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk about this pseudo bye week that the Packers are in the middle of right now, coming up in the second segment. Also, Charlie Larson, Admirals VP of Communications, will join us and things Sparky missed, like he does most Wednesdays at about 4:45 or so. Plus, we'll get into things that we missed as well after Charlie Larson. So a pretty jam-packed hour. As always, we start right here. All right, let's get to what Matt LaFleur had to say earlier today, which is always entertaining and tends to maybe upset me from time to time on what he has to say. He talks about Bo Melton heading to the IR.
Yeah, he'll be on IR, unfortunately. That's a big loss for us. Just a Swiss Army knife. There's nothing he can't do. I wouldn't put it past him, but I just love the energy he brings to our football team. A great competitor. The moment's never too big. You've seen him make plays now in all three phases, and it's unfortunate, but somebody else is going to have to step up.
You know something, when we talk about Bo Melton being all of that, and earlier in the show, we read really what he has done. He's been more of a special teams player than he's been anything else. 5 catches, 100-some yards, a touchdown, no snaps on defense this year at cornerback. Now, was he trained up and coached to play cornerback during training camp and so forth? Yes. Could he have played in a pinch? I think he would have been fine. And yes, the answer to that is yes. Overall, you get Neiman back for this game, who had been out hurt. So that's a linebacker that comes in, will help special teams as far as coverage units go. No, he's not going to return kicks, but it helps from that perspective. The offensive load, that's something else that we talked about back in the very first segment of the show, as far as, are you worried about wide receiver depth going into the playoffs with Wixon concussion protocol, with now no Savion Williams, no Bo Melton? That now means you're at Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden. You are one injury away from Matthew Golden having to play a pivotal role and having to make an impact in this game, in which the offensive coordinator said he will not play a prominent role. Now, as you sit here today, he is an injury away from having to play a prominent role, coming off of not such a great game against the Baltimore Ravens. Well, not the Ravens, the Vikings. When he had former Packer Clayton Tune throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm. It really was not an inspiring performance when he had a really big opportunity to make himself put into that rotation more. And Clayton Tune, didn't throw the ball all that often. We were talking about that with Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press Gazette, and that the lack of opportunities probably led to him not being in rhythm and not being able to kind of key in on stuff like that, and the game just not mattering at all. There's a lot there. I think in a situation like this, as much as that doesn't inspire confidence in you, that last performance, the situation in this game is going to be a lot better for Matthew Golden. You're going to have Jordan Love throwing you the ball instead of Clayton Tune. You're going to get more opportunities to run routes and get into that type of rhythm that a young wide receiver needs. And then the environment and the meaning behind this game for the Packers, and then probably for him too, if he does get that opportunity, shouldn't be bigger. And I think because of that, he should make more of those opportunities that he gets.
Another thing that was brought up to Matt LaFleur today was, when did you first realize how big of a deal this Bears-Packers rivalry truly is?
Yeah, probably that first summer when I went down to Lake Geneva, and I was like, we're in Wisconsin, and saw these Bears fans and giving me a hard time. So I also think, just when I think back, that was my first game here as a head coach in 2019 to kick off the season. I just think back to that atmosphere, how crazy, and just the anticipation for the game. It was a great atmosphere.
Lake Geneva. Matt LaFleur is completely a Lake Geneva guy. Don't you feel like he's a Lake Geneva guy?
I can see him on a boat, a couple collars popped on his shirt. Yeah.
No,
the khaki
question.
shorts, everything. He's got the whole vibe. Yeah.
Those of you who are on the state that don't know what Lake Geneva is. It's like a little like lake community. What would it be? Southeastern Wisconsin. I'd still think that qualifies southeastern Wisconsin. Yeah. So from the state line, it's probably like, what is it? An hour maybe from the state line, something like that. 45 minutes from the state line between Illinois and Wisconsin. And in that community, there are plenty of people from Illinois that have summer homes there, or have retired there. Like, I think there's a former Cubs player, former Cubs pitcher, actually. I know exactly who it is. I'm not going to say who it is. That lives out there, coaches youth baseball in that area and stuff. So there's plenty of Illinois people there to begin with. So yes, the idea that there would be a bunch of Bears fans walking around Lake Geneva on a summer day, and there's the new Packers head coach, Prime, to get harassed by Bears fans, makes all the sense in the world to me that would occur.
But again, it's the fancy Bears fans. I bet they bought him a glass of wine or something too down there.
It is. Yes, I would agree. I think it probably is the fancy Bears fans for sure. Speaking of the Bears, LaFleur talked about Caleb Williams.
Well, we've seen him grow and progress as the season's advanced, and he's made a lot of big time plays. He did it obviously in our game, both games. Then you see it in San Francisco, and you got to be very careful when you're playing a player of his caliber in regards to what he is able to do. There's been situations, you see it all over tape, where there's no way this guy's going to get out of the pocket here. He gets out of the pocket, and then you hear that, you want to keep him in the pocket, and then he's making throws from in the pocket. So I just think he's progressed and he's developed and he's playing at a high level right now.
When you see online people that like Caleb Williams, you will see people that go out of their way to show you the clips of him running right or left and throwing crazy plays down the field. When you find people on social media that do not like Caleb Williams, they will show you wide open plays that he just flat out misses, or him running and throwing a ball out of bounds when circled player is wide open in the middle of the field and he chooses not to throw the football. So there is that type of dramatic good versus bad with his game to this point. Now, the question is when or if he gets to the point of erasing the bad stuff from his game and can be more consistently not bad in glaring spots, that's when you see Caleb Williams then have that conversation of, okay, maybe he's top 5, maybe he's top 10. Athletically, as far as being able to run and do stuff with your arm while running and making crazy throws, he's got all of that. But it's the simple stuff still that gives him problems from time to time where you're like, damn, man, you just made that throw, and how the heck did you just miss that throw? Those are the moments that he needs to get rid of here in the next couple of years to truly put them in a position to make a run to the Super Bowl without a crazy good turnover defense that they have this year. The reason they're in this spot is because of the defense. You need to get to the spot. The reason you're in that spot is because of the offense and the quarterback play. That's what it was with the Packers for all those years, most of the time. Not all the time, but the Rodgers years for certain. Most of those years, it was because of the offense, and then you just needed just enough defense. When they went to the Super Bowl, defense was really good in the playoffs. It was really good. And you had Defensive Player of the Year in Charles Woodson. You had a pass rusher in Clay Matthews. Like, you had dudes that were able to finish and do their thing. This offense here for the Bears, you've got a young guy in Burden, a young guy on Odunze, a young guy, Manangai at running back, a young guy at quarterback. The middle of your line probably is older because that's where you spent your money. But
your tackles are young. You have a rookie left tackle.
For the most
right
part, you are so young on offense that if he figures it out more consistently, that could be a top offense for years to come.
Well, and what I think should worry some other NFC North fan bases is that you've already seen him improve on things that were problems last year. Yeah, a lot of people on the outside looking in that didn't watch as much Caleb Williams last year sees all the balls that he just throws out of bounds and gets rid of and sees that as like a bad thing. That's way better than what he was doing last year when he was just getting hit and demolished every other play and holding the ball on.
He's actually holding the ball longer this year than he did last year.
But it's because he has better protection.
I think it's 3.6 seconds to 3.2 seconds, I think is the number I saw.
He has better protection too up front.
Sure.
So you're seeing all these things start to grow with this team, and it's still a very young team. Yeah, it may not be right now, but as all of them start figuring out these issues that they've had, including Caleb Williams, like you said, he can go from right now, I think he's the 16th ranked quarterback statistically in the NFL. He can very easily jump all the way up to 5. And I think right now what you're seeing is he's a closer. He's not an opener. He's not a starter. He's a closer. He's got to be able to be more consistent. The Packers need to take advantage of that in this game.
And that's the thing, too, that anytime you play that team now, the game's not over until it's over. Like you cannot be like the Packers a couple of weeks ago, up 10 with whatever it was, 2 and some odd change to go, and you blow that game. Like you have got to be focused all the way to the end because of the crazy crap that continues to happen in these Bears games all year long that benefits them more so than the opponent. So we heard LaFleur on Caleb Williams. How about Jordan Love's season?
I think he just consistently goes out there and performs at a high level. I know as an offense, there's been some high moments and some not so great moments, but I don't think that can all be attributed to our quarterback. I think it was really everybody.
So there's LaFleur on Jordan Love. 17 seconds. The Caleb Williams one was 43 seconds. I'm not going to sit here and pick over. He had more to say about Caleb Williams than he did his own damn quarterback that he watched all year. But that was a relatively short answer from Matt LaFleur on his own quarterback, which, again, to me, seems a little crazy to me that you didn't have more to say on Jordan Love. Having said that, the other day, not today, but the other day, he was asked if he consciously chooses to give short answers during his press conferences.
I just try to give you as much honesty as I can. So
while laughing.
And as much transparency as long as it doesn't hurt our football team.
There's Matt LaFleur. That was 10 seconds. So he gave more love to Love than he did to the short answer question. That was 10 seconds.
But again, like you said, when you're watching the video again, he smiles, he smirks a little bit because he knows.
Yes, he knows he's not telling you the truth every week. Get out of here.
Well, and his answers yesterday were worse than even today. Today, he had like an average of about 20 seconds on his answers. Yesterday, they were all like 11 seconds long. I was like, dude, come on. No, you're not being transparent at all. Shut up.
That's why Jeff Hafley is a godsend when that man talks. A godsend, I tell you.
Maybe that's why people may not want him as a head coach, though. He yaps. He keeps talking. Maybe he says too much.
Yes, you're right. He could walk yourself into some trouble or walk you into giving up some answers for an opposing team, can figure something out because he talks and is so honest and so transparent that he opens it up for other people. But what I love about that personally as a fan is he don't care. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And guess what? Then we're going to go do it. You're going to know what we're doing and we're still going to kick your butt. That is what I like. It's not, I can't say this because if they figure it out, I'm screwed. I can't say that. That stuff drives me nuts. And nobody does it more than the NFL. Everything has to be kept under wraps. Oh, you can't bring phones in. Oh, we can't have the media in on this practice session. Media is not allowed in on this practice session. You've got to be kidding me, man. Like it is high. And this stuff was going on back when it was Hallis and Lombardi. They were worried about people having binoculars on the top of roofs of stadiums and everything else.
It feels like Hafley goes in with this mindset of that's going to happen. I might as well just talk. At the same time, it's also a lot easier to say that stuff and be that open like he was at the beginning of the season when you got like a Bear standing behind you who's on your team and Micah Parsons in this situation. So yeah, you can be more open and transparent because nobody can stop Micah anyways.
Earlier in the show, I played Matt LaFleur talking about the game coming up this weekend and his thoughts on playing this game against the Bears. And is it any different, than maybe what we've seen from any other game as far as you're concerned? Is it just another game essentially on the schedule?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing our guys have been doing all season long. It's a tough opponent on the road, a division rival. There's obviously going to be a lot of excitement.
Smiling.
Not only, happy everywhere about this game. So, we just got to go play our type of game.
That was as calm and measured of a response as a coach could possibly give in that situation. Now let me bring to you Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was asked about this upcoming game, what it means for him.
Yeah, I haven't gotten much for text messages or anything like that. And so, just really focused at the task at hand, and we'll worry about the reflection. We'll have plenty of time to do that when the season's over. But we're not ready for that, And just like I told those guys after the game, we're mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks, and so that's our intent. How do you do that? You go out and you win the first one, and so we're going to come in today and we're going to have a great day today. Meetings, walkthrough, short week, opponent that we know, and we're going to get ready for this one. And we're going to go all out for this game, and we'll worry about the future when that time comes. But now it's not the time to look back and reflect.
Not even remotely close to how Matt LaFleur addressed a similar question. It's not even remotely close. I'm telling you, if you see the video of him, it looked like he was like looking through everybody that he was potentially talking to. It was intense, I guess would be the way as you're watching it, as far as how he was talking about it. Talking about 5 weeks. That's what we got, 5 weeks. Do you think Matt LaFleur, kind of the weeks out through the Super Bowl, and brought that up at any point to this team as far as what we got to play to get through the Super Bowl? Like, pull up your bootstraps, baby. We got 5 weeks, man. We got to get through this. Let's go. Here we go. 5 weeks, and we're done. We're going to win that ring. Matt LaFleur, it's just another game. It's another regular season game. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to play the Bears. Anyway, we're going to do what we're going to do. Hey, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. This dude here, like, I'm coming to eat you. I mean, that Matt LaFleur there, not Matt LaFleur, that Ben Johnson there is close to bite your kneecaps off Dan Campbell. That's closer to that than what Matt LaFleur said.
I don't know. His team's a lot healthier. He's got a lot more of his star players ready to go for this game. I don't think
it would matter. It's the dude's personality.
I know that's Matt LaFleur's personality, but I also think there's probably part of them that looks at this postseason and says, without Micah Parsons, without Devontae Wyatt, without Elgton Jenkins, we don't feel as confident. So I'm not going to put that energy out there. I'm just going to try to keep calm and keep cool and keep that energy going.
Do you know what I sense? Talking to the limited amount of Bears fans in my life listening to the score in Chicago, it feels like both fan bases are nervous that they're going to lose this game. Like, if you talk to Bears fans, they're like, probably going to lose. Like, what are you talking about? And then they start listing these laundry list of reasons of why they can't beat the Packers. And then if you talk to Packer fans, it's like, I don't think we're going to win this game. Why? And then they give their laundry list. It feels like both sides are lacking confidence from a fan base standpoint going into this game that is definitely saying we are winning this game. There's no way they're beating us. There's just not a lot of that out there right now.
Well, and I think the Packers fans, they look at the last 4 weeks and are just kind of beaten down right now at the end of the season with all the different injuries. Micah Parsons was so amazing, and now you don't have him on the field anymore. And from a Bears fan perspective, yeah, you've been a lot hotter at the end of the season here. You still have those last 2 losses, though, even though the 49ers game wasn't a bad game. It just was a shootout. Right. And the Lions game, you didn't lose by that much, so I guess you feel a little bit better about that. But at the same time, it's a young team. This is the first year under this head coach. They went from last to first in the division. You've had your heart broken before in situations like this. You don't want to get it heartbroken again, so don't get your hopes up, is basically how a lot of those people are looking at it.
Packers injury report for today. Obviously, Bo Melton placed on IR. Edger and Cooper, full participant with a shoulder issue. Javon Bullard, limited participant for the last 2 days with a knee issue. Warren Brinson with a foot issue, limited participation as well. Limited participation for Nick Neiman, who's off of the IR, so he should be able to play with a pectoral issue. Then you have Zach Tom with his back and knee issues, limited participant in the last 2 days. Full participant for Lucas Van Ness with a foot issue. Dontavian Wick still in concussion protocol, limited. And Malik Willis, limited as well with a right shoulder and hamstring issue. Changes to the Bears injury report. Grady Jarrett still did not participate. They're saying it's rest. Limited participation for Jalen Jones, the defensive back with an ankle issue. Let's see what else. Full participation. Jade Walker, who just catches touchdowns apparently. The rookie wide receiver for Chicago. He's been sick. He was back as a full participant today. So there's your update on their injury report for Green Bay and Chicago. So the common things we missed, and well, stuck with Charlie Larson, the Milwaukee Admirals. So we check in with him or John Greenberg every Wednesday at about 4:45. Don't forget Prize Picks, baby. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control. It's daily fantasy, right? You're picking 2 or more player stat projections and going more or less. And just like that, you're off to the races. And I'm here to help you out. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That means if you play $5 a lineup, 2 or more players in your stat projection that more or less play $5 each time. They give you 50. You put in 5. 55 divided by 5. That's 11. You get 11 lineups for $5, man. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code SPARKY. And how cool is this? Prize Picks also offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to pick more, let's say on Giannis's points, boards, and blocks, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Beautiful. Plus, Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast and secure. Prize Picks also accepts major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy this sports season. Download the Prize Picks app today. We're going to have a new lineup. We're going to put out another lineup tomorrow because we have college football tomorrow night, playoff college football game. So we'll do a new lineup tomorrow, and we'll see how we do tomorrow. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. It's a pseudo bye week, essentially, right? Do you think the pseudo bye week will have a positive or negative effect on the Packers? This is the question that Charlie Usen brought to the table. We'll see what he thinks on the question coming up next, and you as well. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. So Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Sparky with you, Charlie Usen over there. Thanks for tuning in today. Do appreciate it. Also, want to remind you, we are out and about on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network here the next couple of days. So we've been obviously talking about on all the shows what's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, and the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis will broadcast from Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina, just 2 blocks from Lambeau Field on Lombardi Avenue in Green Bay. So Margarita's Mexican Food and Cantina tomorrow from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Come hang out. I believe Trevor Thomas is going to stop by between 9 and 2. I think it was Green Bay Phoenix head coach who just beat UW-Milwaukee, by the way, beat the Panthers. I believe he is going to stop by. He said this morning when he was on with Inside Wisconsin Sports, I think maybe Andy Herman will stop by. Who knows about Ryan Wood? All these guys live in the Green Bay area, so who knows who will pop in throughout the day between 9 and 2. And John Kuhn, who knows who he might have pop by that nobody knows is coming to. You never know what John Kuhn may pull out of his hat tomorrow, too. So stop by Margarita's. Then on Friday, we are at Natty Oaks, baby, and you're going to want to come hang out at Natty Oaks. Now, it's a different lineup at Natty Oaks than what is out at Margarita's tomorrow. On Friday, we will be out from noon until 6 on Friday. So the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis out from noon till 2 at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery. That's right there on National Avenue in West Allis. I'll be out there from 2 until 5 with this show. And then 5 to 6, a special Green Bay Chicago preview show with our guy Tommy Wirtz. Charlie Houston's going to stick around and produce that show as well. So from noon until 6 on Friday out at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery. Love to see you out there on Friday. All right, do you think the pseudo bye week will have a positive or negative effect on the Packers? And pseudo bye week means your starters rested and really didn't play this week. That's what we mean by that. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On social media at WI Sports Radio. Stream us live there on X and YouTube, or stream us at wisportsradio.com, where you can find all of our great podcasts as well. Charlie Houston, what say you?
I think it will help them. I think looking at all the guys that have tried to play through injuries this season, so not even including Jordan Love, who's been mostly healthy. He sat out with this concussion. Guys like Zach Tom and Josh Jacobs. And you look at the defensive line, Barron Sorrell, a guy who just now recently got back into this rotation, the defensive line, a rookie you were excited about. I think these are all players that needed that extra week just to take a break. And that last game of the season, it would have been nice to have the win and go into the playoffs with the momentum. But I think most of these guys feel rejuvenated now, feel ready to go against a Bears team that is going to have key pieces coming back that have rested too as well, that have taken that same time. Now, they didn't rest all their players last week. They're trying to go on that momentum and how that feels. And that last week probably doesn't feel very good to them. So this week, they're going to be excited about coming out and trying to get at the Packers. But the Packers, like Matt LaFleur compared to a Ben Johnson, should be more cool, calm, and collected going into this game because they've had that extra week of rest.
Scotty Tiffany, using the Nicolay Talk and text line, says it has to have been a positive. Love on the sideline last week looked like he was chomping at the bit to get in the game. We're ready to get back in this and pull off a 27-24 win, says Scotty Tiffany. I think there's been a lot made of, mainly from Rami Makloff on 9 to noon, about this whole rust issue that he wants to continue to bring up and play. Man, Malik Willis hadn't played in weeks, didn't practice all week because he was so banged up and beat up and sick, had the flu or whatever, and goes out there and balls out in his game. Like, I'm sorry, with all due respect, Jordan Love's been practicing for 2 weeks with this concussion, even though he couldn't clear protocol. He's been practicing and throwing the ball and doing his thing. I promise you, Saturday night when that game is done and we have the Green Bay football postgame show powered by Lakeland University here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, I am not going to accept, well, Love hadn't played it for a couple of weeks. That's why he struggled. Well, Love didn't play for a couple of weeks. That's why it didn't go well on offense. Nope. Not acceptable. Not hearing it. Don't want to have anybody make that excuse for Jordan Love because it's just not going to work with me. Just not. This is your third year. You're either really good or you're not. And those guys that are really good can miss a couple of weeks, get back up on the saddle again, and act like nothing was wrong. And that is what you have to get from Jordan Love this week. Don't want to hear about, well, it took him 3 quarters to get going, but then, he threw 2 touchdowns when they were down by 30 in the fourth. I don't care. It does not matter. I expect this offense to cook from the time they take the field on Saturday, regardless of how strong the winds are or whatever else. This offense needs to go immediately. This cannot be in the second half they played well, because that's been the Bears' motto this entire season. They get going in the second half. Early in the season, it was every first time they touched the ball, they scored points. Every first drive. And then after that, off the side of the cliff, the offense went. Now it's become slow starts, and then they cook in the third and fourth quarters. They haven't really put together 4 quarters on a consistent basis all year either. So from that perspective, that's got to be the challenge to both of these offenses. Can you put together a complete game?
Well, and I think that hinges on the coaching staffs of both these teams too. Can you put together a game plan that puts your team in the best position, right? Especially, again, since the Bears haven't been able to get that drive and then the Packers have had guys injured. I think Matt LaFleur is going to come into this game with a really good game plan. He hasn't been injured. He hasn't been off the sideline for the past 2 weeks. That's the biggest piece for Jordan Love to succeed.
The question is this: do you think the Zoodle bye week will have a positive or negative effect on this Packers team? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. CB, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, CB?
What's going on, man? I think it's going to help them, but if they don't, I got 2 questions for you, Sparky. If you can, give me a percentage of LaFleur keeping his job if they don't. And the other one is, everybody wants Jim Harbaugh. What you think about that? I'm gonna
John Harbaugh, not Jim Harbaugh. John Harbaugh.
Yeah. John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, the nice Harbaugh. Yeah. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. So yeah, as I stated yesterday, and I will state again, I would rather have LaFleur than Harbaugh. And the reason is simple. The reason I've been saying the entire time, I want my play caller and I want my quarterback to be together. I don't want that disturbed, right? Look at the Detroit Lions. They just fired Morden, and now they're going to have to hire another offensive coordinator. That lasted 1 year after they lost their play caller to become a head coach. I don't want this to be a 2 or 3 year project, and then all of a sudden Love's on another team and gets matched up with somebody good again, and then he starts cooking again after suffering for 2 years here or 3 years here because they can't figure it out. I don't want to be put in that spot. Is Harbaugh a better leader of men? Maybe, but it sounds like that locker room essentially gave up on him based on all the reports. Rob Demovsky wrote a great piece on ESPN talking about the progression of Brett Favre to win a Super Bowl, the progression of Aaron Rodgers to win the Super Bowl, and then the progression of where Jordan Love is now and when he wins a Super Bowl. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the year when there was so much hype around this year being the year after they got Micah Parsons, Brett Favre was 27 when he won his first Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers was 27 when he won his first Super Bowl. Jordan Love is 27. So there was that rhetoric and talk of this is going to be the year. This is how this works in Packer history. You're 27, you go, you win. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. But the whole idea of how long do you keep going with what you have in place from a play caller and quarterback situation before you make a change? And in that piece that Demovsky wrote, he talked to McCarthy about Rodgers. He talked to Holmgren about Brett Favre. And Holmgren in that piece and McCarthy said, hey, man, they got a good thing going. McCarthy really went in because McCarthy's like, I've seen him play 4 times this year. And he goes, I think LaFleur and Jordan Love got a good thing going. And you look at Jordan Love, there's a lot more there that can be had as far as improvement from Jordan Love where he can grow going forward. And he thinks they're on the right path with what they have right now. Now, they're not bringing back Mike McCarthy. Don't think that's going to happen. But, I mean, that just tells you, in my opinion, both those guys think you just leave it alone and go. The question of percentage chance of LaFleur coming back if they lose this Bears game, I would still say it's at least 75%, maybe more. You cannot, I'm sorry, and all of you anti-LaFleur people, and gosh knows it's a growing bunch, can sit there and look at yourself and go, I don't care that all these guys are hurt. I don't care how many impact players aren't playing. You should still play the same way. Just nonsense. It's just complete nonsense. There's just no way. And then the other angle is, well, if there was no 7th seed, they wouldn't have been in the playoffs. Fire them. But but he's coaching when the 7th seed is a playoff. So again, you can't tell him if that's going to be the deal, then you better tell him when you hire him, 7 seeds in the playoffs don't count for us. It's like you missed the playoffs. You better tell him straight up, because you better not bring this crap to the table after the fact and go, because we want to fire you, we're going to bring up the fact that if this 7 seed didn't involve, wasn't around, you wouldn't be in the playoffs. So you're fired because you didn't make the playoffs in our minds. What are we doing? Like, if come maybe crap. No, I don't see how you fire him. And now again, you could say Harbaugh's a better coach than LaFleur. Most people will agree with you. So if Ed Policy says, I'm replacing him with John Harbaugh, am I going to sit here and go, oh my God, the organization's ending? No, because I have my head wrapped in that mind with Jimmy Haslam with the Bucks right now, how that organization is ending. That totally believable that he's going to train wreck the organization. Peter Feigin leaving is just another major step in going that way. So that one, I'll get with you on. Replacing LaFleur with Harbaugh, nah, not train wrecking the organization. It's going to be critical that Harbaugh gets a good play caller like Todd Monken. If Monken doesn't get a head coaching job and he comes to work with Jordan Love in Green Bay, I feel good, right? And then whatever you do with defensive coordinator, because you would assume Hafley will ride with LaFleur to the next job or get a head coaching job like Charlie said. But I'd say 75%. What say you? They lose this game. What is it?
I'm leaning more towards like 60%. I'm a little lower than you. I still believe in this Packers team that when as healthy as possibly can be, they are going to be a competitive squad. When Jordan Love is on the field, when you have your top receivers on the field, when you have a majority of your offensive line on the field, including an Anthony Belton who's figured it out, that right guard position, even though he's kind of a replacement player too at this point. I think when you have that top group out there, they can still go out there and find a way to mess with a young team that doesn't have as much experience like the Chicago Bears. I've said it all year. The NFL is still really wide open, even going into this playoff matchup.
Yes.
I am still having faith in this Green Bay Packers team. Maybe not as much just because they are a 7 seed and they've stumbled at the end of the season here. But the Bears aren't a perfect team. I've watched them all season. I've seen them lose bad games too, like we've seen the Packers lose bad games.
Their defense is a problem.
Their defense can't hold people consistently.
Problem not good for them winning.
They can figure it out sometimes, though, and that's a squad that can turn it on and off at different random points here. I don't believe in them as much. I don't believe in really anybody else right now in this NFC, let alone the AFC. I feel like the Packers still have a really good shot.
Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Brad says, if Love doesn't cook, the story really needs to be, well, Love ain't it. Brad, I don't know you. You may know me. Maybe I do know you. I don't know. But I implore you, if you're doing this based at eye test, I can't argue with you because it's your opinion versus my opinion, what we both see. If you're doing it on anything other than that, then just go look at the numbers with him compared to everybody else in the league. He's a top 10 quarterback. Go look at the different metrics all you want. In some metrics, he's like 2 or 3, depending on what advanced stats you want to use. Like, it's going to be a very, very hard sell to Ed Policy to go, Jordan Love, get rid of him. Let's try somebody else. I just don't believe Ed Policy's going to get down with that. You have a better chance of LaFleur going before you have a chance of having Jordan Love go.
I think in Brad's defense, though, a little bit, the overall quarterback play in the league, along with the league, is a lot closer to each other. And yeah, Jordan Love may be a top 10 quarterback, but that may not mean what a top 10 quarterback meant 10 years ago.
Why is that?
Because just statistically, it's down. The play is down. 10 years ago in 2016, you're having seasons like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees, legends of the game, that are throwing consistently for 5,000 yards for a couple of years in a row. You have a lot more high-end quarterback play during that time, and right now you're just not seeing that.
You also realize the rules of the game have changed along the way.
To help the quarterbacks.
Defensive coordinators have also adjusted to this wide-open throwing offense. The game has evolved to be more of a running offense because everybody's playing the pass, which has opened up.
Still doesn't change the fact that the quarterback play has changed and has not been as prolific.
Those guys that you named are all Hall of Famers for good reason, and I'm not saying they're not. But if you want to go around the NFL and say who's in the Hall of Fame,
exactly.
You probably have
you're making my point.
You probably have at least 10 right now Hall of Famers in the league that you'd be like, absolutely not. Dak Prescott's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going. Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's going. You can go through the list. I mean, there are several guys. Joe Burrow, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Not if he can't stay healthy.
Okay, well,
he hasn't won an MVP. He hasn't won a Super Bowl.
You're talking about talent. So if we're talking about talented players that are at the level of Manning and these guys, Burrow is at that level.
And Burrow wasn't on the field for half the season this year.
Understood, man. I'm just saying you can't keep changing. You can't move the goalposts. Where I say he's right there, Hall of Fame worthy, and they go, well,
but he didn't play this season. I said specifically this season. The quarterback played this season.
Was out multiple years. What are we talking about?
So those specific seasons, they may not have been as good of quarterback play.
He won a Super Bowl, and they give him credit for it.
I'm not saying those guys aren't Hall of Famers. I'm saying this season they weren't playing, and the statistics across the league show that it wasn't as prolific as past seasons. That's my point.
That's fine. And maybe we can call up the numbers and we can go inside the numbers tomorrow and compare how bad the quarterback plays this year. And maybe it is, because we're talking about Caleb Williams being good and his completion percentage sucks. And we're saying that he potentially is a top quarterback. So that's a good indicator of how bad the league is. Because back in the day, he would be probably viewed as a bottom third quarterback. And in today's game, he's probably viewed as middle of the road quarterback.
He's a middle of the league quarterback. He's ranked as like the 16th best quarterback in the league right now. And statistically, he isn't there.
Coming up next, Charlie Larson, Admirals VP of Communication. Things Sparky missed. We'll talk to him. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live in Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2,000 square feet, 2 levels. Well, the sportsbook's not 2,000 square feet. The screen is 2,000 square feet. 30 sporting events at one time you can watch. Beautiful thing. Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, amazing. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Everything you could possibly imagine, including an all-day brunch, homemade desserts and pastries. Reserve your seat today. You don't have to, but I suggest it. Got college playoff games next 2 nights, football playoffs coming up this weekend, plus basketball and hockey and all of that. It's a nominal fee, but it goes towards your food and beverage, which you're going to spend that money anyhow. Go to Potawatomi.com today to reserve your seat. Joining us now, we always talk about the Milwaukee Admirals every Wednesday with John Greenberg, president of the Milwaukee Admirals, or with the VP of Communications, Charlie Larson. He joins us now on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Charlie, what do we got coming up for Admirals hockey?
Sparky, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Hope you had good holidays. What do we have? We have everything. It's like hockey season now, officially clicked over. Christmas week. It's like, obviously we've been playing, but now it's when it really kind of clicks into high gear. Everything is more magnified, including the promotions. We've got some phenomenal stuff coming up. Starting tomorrow night, it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock. The game was originally scheduled for Friday. Schedule changed. You might have a pocket schedule that says, hey, the Admirals play Friday. It's wrong. We tried to get those back. A couple of them got out there. So it's tomorrow night, Thursday night, January the 8th, 7 o'clock, against the Manitoba Moose. And we're excited. We have a professional cycling team called Project Echelon that's going to be out here.
Yep.
Yeah, they do awesome stuff with veterans, like connecting veterans, helping them heal. And it's really cool. I recommend people take a look at Project Echelon's website. And they've got some really, really neat stuff on there. They're going to be actually giving out. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Charlie. What are they giving out?
They're giving out 5,000 bars of Duke Cannon soap. As a matter of fact, as people leave, not bad. You come to an Admirals game, you work up a lather, yelling at the other team, at the refs, cheering for the Admirals. You don't want to go home and stink. You need some soap. I recommend using it with water, though.
Yeah, water is good. Yes, not dry. We got about 2 minutes left here. Fight Cancer night coming up too. Liambus coming back.
Yeah. Hockey Fights Cancer Night, always one of our favorites. We've got some awesome stuff, including like hockey fights, right? Hockey, there is fighting in hockey. So we've got 4 of the toughest Admirals to ever play, including Mike Liambus, who is just a short guy, but was like, they give it like the heavyweight. They've got like a heavyweight distinction in hockey. Is this guy a heavyweight? And Mike Liambus, despite being 5'9", 5'10" on skates, he was a heavyweight. And he took some as well. His best friend knocked him out right on the ice at Bradley Center a bunch of years ago. But that's another story for another time. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. That's a tease. They call that in the business, isn't it, Sparky?
Yes, it is. And that night is when? When is that coming up?
Sorry, I got excited. You'd mentioned that we mentioned the fighters, Mike Liambus, Nolan Yonkman, Tristan Grant, and Eric Fenton. That's next Tuesday, January 13th, 7 o'clock. Against the league-leading Grand Rapids Griffins at Panther Arena.
Thank you much, Charlie Larson. We'll talk again next Wednesday, buddy.
Can't wait. Thanks, Berkey.
There he is, Charlie Larson, Admirals VP of Communications. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie using the other side of the glass. Coming up, Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up, the big old hunk of love. He is Tommy Wirtz. He is here. He is ready to go. That's coming up next at the top of the hour. Enjoy the rest of your night, Wisconsin. Have a good one. Toodles.